let's begin. Hello, everyone. I read my notes because it's the first time I'm doing this presentation. Okay, so I came with a 1 hour presentation that I will shorten to deliver it in 20 minutes. So sorry if it's all super packed, and I hope that you will keep certain things for you. So let's begin with a pre-introduction before my introduction. The title, From Extraction to Transmission, Building Authentic African Narratives. That is something interesting, don't you think? It's not just a stance or a philosophy. I'm going to introduce you through useful tips that you can use right after this moment. And surprise, it's not something that is only valuable for Africa, but for any type of culture, of course. So I give you a pitch. Bear with me for a minute. I'm going to give you a real brief, the kind that you might actually receive as a game creator. So this is a map. I'll give you 6 months to create some kind of walking simulator about this island in the 19th century. And I have money for that. So naturally, you will take the deal. Do you recognize this shape? This island? No one? It's not a problem. This is Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe is my motherland. The mandate continued just to say that I want to feel this sense of authenticity with a capital A. We really enjoy that word, authenticity, even if it sounds overused now. So you do your own research. You learn that Guadeloupe is one of the many islands in the Caribbean Sea between the US and Latin America. It's not an African island, but you'll get the connection soon. You'll find a rich fauna and flora, mangrove swamps, great trees like this one, gray lizards or green lizards like this one. We call that anoles. Beautiful trees, I said. La Soufrière, that is this volcano, sleeping volcano that you can see. And you will also learn that our local language is a mix of French, Caribbean, and African roots. And above all, you will discover a rich folklore, but not much is written down, except from one main figure. This one is Mamandlo. Don't know if you know this figure, Mamandlo. She is the local goddess of rivers and the sea. There are not so many there are many stories about her, either good or bad stories. She comes from African myths, so she has diverse names from Africa. So you feel like it's your own story to tell. You have 3 people in your team, a programmer, a game designer, a 3D environment artist, and you feel that you're lucky because one of them is actually from Guadeloupe. So he's your kind of gem. You are hoping that he will soon share what he knows about this island, and you will save time in building this world. And you will have that. It's the first visual of your game. Is it convincing? Now, during this development, your Guadeloupean colleague admits that he's young. He moved to France. I am from France, by the way, because Guadeloupe is linked to France. Your Guadeloupean colleague admits that he's young. He moved to France with his family at 18, and he doesn't know so much about the local folklore himself. He doesn't even speak Creole when you ask. Creole is the language from the West Indies. Fortunately, he knows a teacher who can help fine-tune the details, and that sounds a good plan to you, and you'll do that once the game is nearly finished. And you do that. The teacher shares some feedback, but most of them are minor on your point of view. And since he has no real interest in video games, you skip the notes that feel unimportant to you. And you deliver the game ships. And the final results give me that face, that's me. I don't recognize anything, and unfortunately, I was so busy and so focused, not focused on the different details during the meeting that we did together. And I feel that you did not grab the atmosphere, and there is no local sound, no environmental details that remind me of my motherland. So I probably pay for your work, and but afterwards, I'm not sure that we will work together again anymore, just because it's not like, it seems like off. So, for this game, or any type of games that have this premium sense of authenticity, who contributes to shape that world very well? Who validates authenticity? Who decides what feels sufficient? Who will be proud of this game for years to come? So coming back to African countries and cultures, there is a huge potential here, as Iram said. But if you take that opportunity, don't leave details behind, don't avoid conversation or occasion to collaborate closely with local experts. Because that's exactly what leads to backlash, the feeling of a mere skin, a work that isn't polished enough, and the fact that you no longer stand behind once it's called out. I apologize, I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Mickaël Newton, and I worked for Ubisoft for over a decade, first in the editorial department, sharing best practices with colleagues on building great worlds in Ubisoft games. And later on social impact projects, I built a lot of different charity programs into games with studios, leads, and teams, and sharing some of the revenues from those games with NGOs doing things for good around the world. I left the company several months ago, and with my associate, Jennifer, that isn't here today, we built this company to help studios from everywhere to depict better worlds and characters, especially when it comes to African culture. By the way, Jennifer would have loved to be there, but it turns out that early stage startups struggle to do transatlantic flights, but you'll hear our voice through my voice. So a part of Western studios, we also support African studios directly on different axes, helping them with international visibility, working on their outreach strategy, organizing local events also. And this event, an online event named Afro Game Showcase, we delivered that late in June. And it's available indeed on YouTube if you want to catch up. Here is what Africa looks like in the games we love. Games you probably know. They are a place of conflict, destruction, aggression. The savior syndrome is an easy trap that many games fall into, and black characters are often caricatured, underdeveloped. Take Resident Evil 5, for example. Most of the main characters driving the plot are white. No one in the game world even talks to Shiva, the girl that you can see, except the hero. In fact, she barely exists within our own setting. The official story never confirmed this rumor, but it seems that the characters have been added after the backlash on the social network. And now we know that Capcom, the company behind the game, is remaking all of these games, all of this series, and I have the feeling that they will skip this one. Or they will reboot all the content and the work with specialists, I hope. So Africa is not a risk, it's a collaboration opportunity that you are missing. This is what we mean by extraction, building a game, its gameplays, and letting culture become nothing more than an outfit, a bad design habit. But none of this is inevitable. There is a much better way to do things, mainly by working with the people concerned. We know New York very well, thanks to Miles Morales, thanks to Nico Bellic in GTA 4. And a small personal anecdote. I virtually visited New York before ever setting foot here for the first time in 2010. I was amazed that I could place Battery Park on a real subway map at the first sight, just because I played GTA 4. We know Greek and Norse mythology pretty well now, thanks to Kratos in God of War. We know a certain vision of Norway, a certain vision of England, thanks to Eivor, AV, and other characters from Assassin's Creed series. So what if we build African believable or fantasy worlds with the same conviction? I'm still sad that EA's Black Panther project was vanished, but because the project was shut down for budget reason after I'd been looking forward to it for months. So Wakanda open world won't happen anymore, but maybe one day, we don't know. Again, Africa is not a risk. It's an opportunity that we all missing, because if you look to the African characters that are actually there is a lot of different stories, personal stories, with games like Tales of Kenzera, cooking games like Disney Weju Rising Chef, blending local cultures with original creation, for example, with Orion. And Africa knows your games better than you think, because they are players too, mostly on mobile, but it's they are playing a lot of your different games. In terms of representation, African gamers are purchasing games content from Nigeria, South Africa, Algeria, Egypt, Tunisia, and many more. And local creators need publishers and funding, as Hiram said earlier. And you can build trust simply by reaching out. Check out the AfroGame Showcase, for example, if you want to connect with those people. And there is also Glenn Gillis around us. So how to create games with authenticity? What I'm calling collaboration is what most people already associate with authenticity, getting support from consultants, researchers, and so on. It's necessary, it makes your world building relevant, precise, and serious, but because it's usually punctual and incomplete, because it's knowledge without lived experience, it's not enough on its own to build trust. Transmission through storytellers, friends, and family networks is slower, but it goes further. You'll tell stories with more confidence when you know them deeply and sincerely. For that, you'll have to spend more time with the people that are concerned. They might even become part of your team, directly or indirectly, involved with the creation itself. Think about them as becoming decision makers, or at least real stakeholders in the project. Weird storytellers, local guides, association elders, that's where all the depth comes from. And if you're reaching out to someone who you didn't know before, please pay them properly. Give back to their communities before the release of the game and after, if it's possible. So this diagram is something I worked during my journey at Ubisoft. It's some kind of mapping of a well-built open world, what players will actually keep from this experience. So a good game doesn't transmit its own values through a single story. It depicts one world connected to dozens of systems like the human relationship, the factions, dynamic weather, and more and more. And as a player, you will interact with those systems through gameplays, like running, jumping, eliminating foes, interacting with the environment, with other players, and so on. And all of that trigger different stories, the written ones, but also the anecdotes that you will keep from your own experience. Oh, sorry. So all games are rooted in your own society, the society we are all living in. And as a player, your culture shapes which games you're drawn to and how sensitive you are to one story or over another. Memorable games are the ones crafted with that connection, linking your own story, cultures, and society to what the games want to share with you. Take Reloaded, for example. The game is not the pure perfect case, but it has its own interest on what it looks like when cultures shape the systems. In real life, we know that museums hold a huge number of items from Africa. And what makes the game interesting is that its core mechanic, stealing the artifacts and get them back to the different countries, can push your own reflections toward what actually exists in reality. Not to make you a thief, but to make you walk into a museum with a renewed point of view. And that's why Nyamakop worked with different museums directly and local communities, collectives, and that you didn't want to stigmatize any country of the other. The setting of the game is built the way that everyone can form their own reflection, and also make their own moves. So there is five steps. They are in order on purpose. So for the first point, this will surprise you maybe, but cultures comes in before designing starts, not after. Culture is not a wearable or a skin. You can still catch up with you can still catch up a little once things are written, but once the production process is ongoing, it becomes harder and harder to change your content. The game mechanics. Game mechanics themselves can reflect culture, as I said. I think of, for example, bartering and bargaining in Chia, a game set in New Caledonia, where you play a little girl on a journey to save her father, using her own boat to do so. There is also a moment of singing with their local language, with our community, and yelling from the top of cliffs as a unique mechanic to unlock your location on the map. The fourth point matters most for me. Find ways to genuinely involve knowledge holders in your process. They certainly won't fix a bad game for you, but they will absolutely help to flag the issues. So the power to say no has to be real, not symbolic. And the last point is about communication. Your publisher, your community manager, they both need to embrace what your game's culture actually is, not to avoid the themes, and timid marketing undoes everything that you did in production. So take time to talk about your source, your influences, the people who helped strengthen your content. And the last one, it is about, it is the point that I've just talked about. Basically you have to embrace what your games actually is, not avoid the different themes. So it's really, really important. And the last word, it is the future of authentic games will not be built by representing more cultures, but by learning how to receive those messages and what they choose to transmit. So you won't be able to act on everything, on every piece of feedback that you will receive. So choose wisely, or better listen to the people concerned. This is your ultimate achievement. If people you're representing in your game end up using your game for education or are genuinely proud of it, that's a big win. So thank you everyone for your attention, and I remain at your disposal if you want more information or insight. And if you have one question, because it's 15 seconds remaining, thank you for your time. Question, reaction? And that's it. Thank you.